Baylor's Dave Aranda and Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham both spoke to the media and answered questions previewing the matchup between their two teams to open Big 12 play on Saturday night in Waco. Let's dive into what exactly they said about injuries, the Baylor defense against Arizona State's offense, the Sun Devil defense against Baylor's offense, and the matchup of top Big 12 QBs. First up, some general notes from Dave Aranda.
I think it's going to take every day intentional focus and effort by coaches, players, all of it to get to where we need to be. I think there's some improvement there, but certainly not enough. I think we're going to be way tested Saturday with really physical run offense and big play offense, and a guy that we got to locate and try to get more than one dude on. And so that causes a lot of issues. And so for us to play really sound physical defense in that type of landscape is something we just really haven't been a part of yet. And so, we got better today. We got to continue to get better. There'll be work kind of volunteering, guys watching film together and all of it the rest of the day. It's going to take that every day to get to where we need to be.
On the other sideline, Dillingham will have his team focused on the Bears, if nothing else.
Yeah, we play Baylor. I don't focused on Baylor. That's 100% the focus, and whoever we play after Baylor, we'll play them, and then so be it. But we're 100% focused on Baylor, the current team. This is a good football team. It's a team that, has battled back from a 14-point deficit versus a ranked opponent and beat them on the road. So this is a good football team. They're probably the hottest team in our conference last year to end last season. I don't even know if we get into the Big 12 title game last year if they don't lose on a Hail Mary in a game. I mean, they're one of the best teams in our league last year. They returned a lot of people, returned the starting quarterback, returned the coordinators. So we got to stay focused on one game at a time.
Baylor fans may recognize better than anyone else that this year's team is not last year's team. But the defending champs are trying to maintain a champion's mindset. Everyone is a threat. Now on to injury concerns. Starting with first-team All-Big 12 safety, Xavier Alford.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever replace Xavier. He's first-team All-Big 12. He's one of the leaders of our football team. But he wasn't playing at 100%, and that wasn't fair for him to fight through and play at 70% like week 2. That just wasn't fair to him and his future. Back to what I said, I want to protect our guys no matter how badly they want to play. We got to protect them from themselves because they're competitors. But Boogie went in there, and he did an awesome job. We found out he was going to start Saturday morning, and he went in there. There's a reason we brought him in. We have a lot of faith in Boogie. He's one of the happiest people I've ever met, which is awesome. I already said what I asked before the game, and he's just, I'm going to play my best. He's just that type of guy, which is awesome. So he went out there and played a really good game. He flew downhill. He made some nice tackles. He had some good ball disruption. So I was really, really happy with how he played.
Another injury concern for ASU is wide receiver Jalen Moss, who you'll hear about more later on in this video. Also, look out for the Big 12's new mandatory injury reports every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night heading into conference games for more detail. Note, this video should be recorded prior to the Wednesday report coming out each week. Now for a couple of Baylor injuries to monitor. First up, defensive back Carl Williams.
Yeah, he was going through everything today, so excited for his opportunity. He's fighting hard to get back on the field.
And linebacker Phoenix Jackson?
I don't know. I think he's still kind of getting evaluated. I hope to know later this week. He's someone that really high hopes going into the season. We're hoping that we get him back here soon.
And lastly, from the man himself, defensive lineman Jackie Marshall on his lingering ankle injury.
I feel great, man. Just taking it day by day. Still attacking rehab, but I feel great. I'll be ready for this week.
Now time for what the coaches had to say about the Baylor defense going up against the Arizona State offense. First up, Coach Dillingham's thoughts on the Baylor coaching staff.
They're a good football team. They're well coached. I coached with their defense coordinator, Coach Powell Lidge, but at Oregon. He's one of the best defensive minds. Coach Aranda is known to be one of the best defensive minds, and Coach Pav is they've got an unbelievable staff there, and they do a really, really good job putting pressure on you on both sides of the ball. They're stout up front on the defensive line. They're big. They're strong. They bring all their simulated pressures where you have no clue where it's coming from. They play odd. They play even. So, they do enough. I think the greatest challenge is putting our guys in the best position to be successful and play fast. because I think their coaches do a nice job.
Now, if that wasn't enough of a deep dive for you on scheme, Dillingham went on.
Yeah, big dudes up front. He wants big dudes up front, and he wants to be able to bring pressure from all over. They're called simulated pressures. He wants to be able to act like he's rushing 5, act like he's rushing 6, and only rush 4 because he drops out an end or drops out a defensive tackle, right? So everything is to simulate pressure without bringing it to confuse the quarterback. So your traditional thoughts of that defensive end is going to rush the passer is out. That defensive tackle is going to rush the passer is out because he's going to try to play his coverages with different guys, filling in the puzzle. And then, like I said, he does such a good job. They run what they run, but he does such a good job changing the small details of what they do. Guys from a shades to 2 eyes, guys from 4 eyes to 3s. So your angles on blocks just completely get destroyed. But the structure of their defense is the same. So he gets to dictate what he wants you to do by making really small changes every week. It's why he's the head coach at Baylor. It's because he's been one of the best defense coordinators in the country for a long time.
Aranda, for his part, has concerns about the big play ability of Arizona State, including yet another dual-threat quarterback to keep contained.
Their game plan outfit on offense, I think they will look at your structure and design plays for that. I think they're a big play offense. They try to feature 0, and they'll move him around to do that. Quarterback is very dangerous scrambling. We've played some quarterbacks that are dangerous scrambling. He's right up there, if not the number 1 guy of all of them. I think he's very fast, and when he decides to kind of cut it loose, he can make big plays, both throwing it on the run, but running it for sure. I think the running backs are a squad that's kind of coming together. I think they're looking to get healthy and everything, but they're a talented group. Obviously there's a big miss from last year, but I think they've got a competent and really solid, really good group. So it's a challenge for us. And then the line of scrimmage for them is a lot of returners and veteran guys, and so they handle movement really good. The ID, pressure, and they're able to kind of sort through it and pick it up and move it out the way. And so, they play a brand of ball that kind of bullies you. And if you let yourself be bullied, they'll take it.
The way Aranda lays it out, Dillingham has plenty of options for how to attack any defense. One way the Sun Devils have chosen to do that early this year is a lot of 12 personnel, 1 back and 2 tight ends. With wide receiver Jalen Moss being sidelined, this makes extra sense.
Yeah, obviously you're always trying to figure yourself out early. And then Moss being out, he's a good football player, so he'll be back this week, barring something crazy happening, which will be really good for us to get back into some other stuff as well. So we should be able to have a little more balance. But it's been good putting the tight ends on the field and getting into surfaces to run the football. And those guys are versatile enough. Kamari hit 20 miles per hour in the game, so he's versatile enough to be out there. Shamon's versatile enough to get the ball, so same with Harp. So I think the versatility those guys have just allow you to create more formations with the same group. I do think anytime you create edges, it calms the quarterback down a little bit because you don't have to worry about, both sides of the, kind of shorten the vision. If that makes sense. So yeah, it's been kind of just good for us in general.
So perhaps the heavy use of 12 personnel will continue on Saturday. As for the ASU run game, how have the running backs fared in replacing Cam Scadaboo?
I think the running backs are a squad that's kind of coming together. I think they're looking to get healthy and everything, but they're a talented group. Obviously there's a big miss from last year, but I think they've got a competent and really solid, really good group. So it's a challenge for us.
What I get from this clip is...
Now, what we might be able to do is recreate him. Recreate him in the aggregate.
And to back that up, the Sun Devils have had 3 100-yard rushing performances through 3 games this season. Kanye Udo, the Army transfer, against Mississippi State, and Raleek Brown against both Mississippi State and Texas State. Plus, Kyson Brown and Sam Levitt both had games over the century mark last season, making 4 guys on the roster who've done it at Arizona State.
We've had 4?
I believe so.
That's all. Yeah, great. I didn't even know. That's a great stat. That's awesome. I mean, if you can have 4 guys rush for over 100 yards, just shows the versatility you have. It's hard to, lock in on a guy. So, yeah, that's positive.
Now, that question definitely seemed more like for this year, but anyway, let's hear more on how Dillingham thinks the Bears could disrupt their run game.
Every game's a little bit different with how you run the football. This team's completely different. Team's big, strong dudes playing odd 4 eyes. One of the things that Coach Aranda's done forever is he's been so good at small changes to his scheme. So play a 3 versus a 4 eye, a guy head up versus a tight shade, right? So I think the things that he does defensively, that isn't big changes in scheme. He just makes small changes that make it really difficult to game plan for. So I think we're going to put together a good plan.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. But in football, a punch isn't just a tackle for a loss. It's more like a turnover, and turnovers have been a point of emphasis for the Bears lately. Can they get more?
I hope so. I think, I think the excitement about guys getting takeaways was good to see. We had a couple today in the 2-minute period that we had, and a lot of excitement with guys getting it. And so I think everybody wants to be in that Bear coat, I think I think once you kind of get it going, it can be contagious. I don't think we've got it going yet, but I think there's a want to, and I think guys recognize the importance of it, and it needs to be a part of, I think with our offense and our ability to score as fast as we can, and the offenses that we see, and how many possessions there are, I think we have to get takeaways.
Some things that don't help generate turnovers are young and inexperienced players being forced onto the field through injury. The Bears have struggled with this early on, and Aranda used another of his movie references to convey the reality of that situation.
Yeah, they've been working in throughout. I think, that's something where it's kind of a double-edged sword, I think, on defense, particularly that first week, even the second week, where you're not playing as well as you'd like to play. And you try to get something fixed with the group that made the issue and made the problem, had the mistake, and then a whole new fresh group rolls in, and they're just happy to kind of get on the scene and to bring them up to speed, and with all of it, and then it hits them in the mouth, and now you're kind of 2-3 steps behind with them. You feel like you're never out in front of it, right? Whereas what is it? It's kind of 50 first dates when you're rolling people through. And so when you have the same group through, right, that mistake builds kind of a library that they can go back to and see. There's always the ability to see on the sidelines, and obviously we preach that. I think it's another thing to go through it, And so, there's always an issue with playing a lot of guys, but the positive thing about playing a lot of guys is kind of what you're talking about. You have guys that have played, have some experience, you feel comfortable with them getting in. So that's where we're at right now.
Now, finally, we are on to possibly the top storyline of this matchup, the Gunslinger Showdown, Sam Leavitt versus Sawyer Robertson. While both are still considered top Big 12 QBs, they've had some lackluster performances early this year, Leavitt in Week 2 and Robertson in Week 3. So how are they bouncing back?
Yeah, Sam's a phenomenal player. Like I've said multiple times, I don't think I did a good job in Week 2 getting him ready to play football. I think he did a really good job this week preparing, and I think that showed up on tape. He was comfortable, he was prepared, and he played really well. So, like I said earlier, last week, I think that second week was on me. I don't think I did a good job preparing him to play quarterback. I think he kind of prepared really well this week. He had a really good week of practice, and I think he played really well.
Yeah, I think with Sawyer, it's going to be how can I get better? How can I get back to when I'm playing my best? How can I take this next step? How can I help this team win? I think those are all the things I know that he has publicly said, or said internally, I guess, to us. And so I very much believe that with him. Just like I say, coming up here and he's still on the field with guys, I think he's very in tuned in terms of this is a week to improve. This is an opportunity not to be missed, and he's leading us into that. So, I would bet on Sawyer.
Just like, before the season when he was getting all the hype, he always prepares the same, whether he had a bad game or a good game. He's the leader of our team, and we fully believe in him, whether he's, has his best game or not. So he's been the same guy, the same leader, and he's the same great ball player, and I fully expect him to show that this weekend.
Dillingham chimed in on Robertson and how he was one of the many coaches who recruited him out of high school.
Yeah, I actually recruited him out of high school, didn't get him, went to Mississippi State to play, he's a heck of a player. He's accurate. He's tall, big, so he can see over the line, make throws over the middle of the field really well, which is obviously a strength of a taller quarterback. Super intelligent, better athlete than people give him credit for. Like, he's a big dude. I went and saw him throw live at a practice back in high school. So really good player. He's had a lot of success the last 2 years there, so it's going to be a good challenge for us.
And here's what Aranda had to say about Sam Levitt.
Quarterback is very dangerous scrambling. We've played some quarterbacks that are dangerous scrambling. He's right up there, if not the number one guy of all of them. I think he's very fast, and when he decides to kind of cut it loose, he can make big plays. Both throwing it on the run, but running it for sure.
Plus, one final word on Levitt from his head coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to compete versus everything. He doesn't like to fail, so he wants to be the very best he can be every single game. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and realize you get to play college football at an awesome place, and you're living out your dream, and I think he did that this week.
Now let's switch sides of the ball and hear from Aranda about the ASU defense.
Defensively, I think a lot of pressure in big-time moments. I think linebacker-wise, really talented. I think front-wise, they got two edge guys that can win one-on-ones, and they'll here lately a lot of zone, try to force the ball down until it gets into pressure moments, and then they heat you up. I think that heat up thing could be around any corner. I think they use that and call that out pretty effectively.
One part of the Sun Devils being able to turn up the heat is their defensive line controlling the trenches.
Yeah, I've been really pleased with our D-line in the four-man rush game, getting after the quarterback. Our linebackers in the recontain game, versus seven-man pros, we've been adding pretty well. We've gotten a couple sacks just in the recontain world as well. So I've just been pleased with the games are what they're supposed to look like up front. The straight rushes and the muddy rushes are what they're supposed to look like. We're containing the quarterback. So I've just been pleased with that unit as a whole.
And Baylor guard Omar Ibedion offered a player's perspective on the task in front of his unit on Saturday.
I see a really, really well-coached defense. Like you said, they're the returning Big 12 champs. Have a lot of guys on the front seven that played last year. So, I'm just super excited to have the opportunity to play against a good front seven. Coach has talked a lot, really these past 2 weeks about our O-line and D-line improving their play. And, we just really all got to lock in and play to the best of our ability. He talks a lot about our best players playing their best when it matters. And on the line of scrimmage, we got to do that when it matters. So
beyond just playing better, the Bears need to figure out how to run between the tackles again. At the end of last year, that was a strength, but that has not been the case through 3 games this season.
Yeah, I think we've had more success with stretch plays and wide zone than we have with inside zone. At the end of last year, the inside zone was by far kind of our best style of run. We just haven't been able to get the movement up front, and I think some of it has been, at the end of the game, we're running into loaded boxes, runs that have RPOs attached to them. We really should be throwing it, and we weren't. And, I think B. Wash was, there's 20 guys in there, and he's, running through 18 of them. And so I think there's a whole improvement there that's got to take place for sure. But I think the ability to run them wide with the stretch play and get that loose to kind of soften up the middle with the inside zone is how we're looking at it.
And here we are at the end of another presser breakdown, ready for some final notes. For Baylor, it all comes down to the trenches.
We have to play more physical on O-line and D-line. Our movement up front, the line of scrimmage. When I broke the team this morning from our practice, I told them, hey, man, the line of scrimmage, those first series or two, it's going to go one way or the other. And that's really going to be the game. Kind of where is that push going? How's that look? And so we have not, 3 games in, we have not decisively won kind of that battle, and we've won some games without it. In this game, I think to win it, we're going to have to win that battle.
And for Arizona State, there is, as always, an emphasis on the middle 8 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, week 2, we were plus. I mean, I include the first possession of the second half, even if that takes 7 minutes or whatever it takes. So the last 2 weeks, we were plus 10 in both games, field goal, touchdown in both games. We missed an opportunity at the end of the first half this last week to really, score a field goal, get a stop, and then we got the ball back again, and we had an opportunity to go score again. And, I showed the guys I would have liked to manage that situation a little bit different in terms of our aggressiveness on the 2nd and 1 maybe. But I thought we're doing well. I mean, we're plus 20 in the last 2 weeks, so that's pretty good.
Well, it should be a fun one on Saturday night. Enjoy week 4 and enjoy Big 12 play, everybody. Join Sikkim 365 Premium on a $1 for 1 month trial to read our experts' notes and insights. Know about high school commits, off-season transfers, coaching staff changes, and so much more before the rest. Also, download the Sikkim 365 app on your iPhone today to get instant notifications of breaking news, read up on the latest inside info, easily interact with other Baylor fans on our forums, and get alerts for anything published by your favorite staff members.